You goddamn right groceries matter. You goddamn right gas matters. You goddamn right my bank account matters. Are you fucking crazy? My legacy is tied to what I produce for my children, my wife, my grandkids. Welcome, 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 welcome. Welcome to Loose and Reckless. I'm your host, Ray. You know, I started this channel to take target at a lot of globalist players, call them out, point out their agendas that a lot of people I believe are missing, and really start showing the people some things that needs to be seen. You know, there's a lot of agendas being played. There's a lot of things going on in this world, and a lot of people just don't have the time, at all. I've been on this journey for a long, long time of just discovering what's going on around me, how I fit, how I play in this world, what's going on in the world, and how does it affect me. And this thing has taken me on such a ride that only thing I can explain is, Alice in Wonderland ain't got shit on me. All right, so Loose and Reckless, as in the title, we're gonna get wild. We're gonna talk crazy. I might be enemy of the state #1 when I'm finished, and I don't care. The reality of it is we all have to stand for something or fall for anything. And there's times that's coming in front of us that is going to affect not just us living right now, but primarily our kids and our grandkids. And if you have kids and grandkids, or you plan to have kids and grandkids, and you live in this beautiful, beautiful country of United States of America, it's time for you to go ahead and start taking this stuff a little bit more seriously and start figuring out what's actually happening. So as you see by the title, so the 2024 election is over. What's next? Well, we're going to cover a lot of that. But before we do that, go ahead and slap that like button like you've been here before, and let's get started. All right, so first off, I was diving in for, doing research and getting ready for my first video. I had I was putting together a hit piece, to be honest, of one of the major players in open society, a very regular frequenter to the World Economic Forum, a individual who parlays in a couple of our presidencies and administrations with the DOD, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense. They have a lot of acclaim behind them, and that'll be on the next episode. But today I want to talk about what totally derailed me and stopped me from dropping that episode and putting that together so far. And it will be coming. It's still coming. I'm still adding things to it, but so much other stuff that just came to light that, during my research on this individual, I went back in some of the archives of New York Times, and I want to share this article with you that kind of paints a picture of what I'm getting at with this shit. This shit is really disturbing. And full disclosure, I'm gonna let you know right now, I am a conservative. I'm a Black conservative. I didn't find your typical route to getting here. I wasn't raised that way. I was born in slums. I come from nothing, and I made something out of myself. I've done a lot in my life, but that'll be something for another channel and maybe another day. But what I'm here to talk about right now is this whole issue of the psyop that's being done to the vast majority of our populace, and people seem to not care, not want to care. There's some serious things that we need to dive into as far as how you've been played in your mind, like how they ran a psyop on you and you didn't even know it. Some of you on the left, some of you on the right. None of that even matters at this point. As you see, the date, like I said, of this dropping is November 5th, the day of the election. So I'm speaking on this without knowing who won, and I don't care who won, even though, like I say, I'm a conservative. I'm a Black conservative, and I am for Trump all the way. But I want you to understand that truly who wins this election is not the problem. It's the globalists that are the problem. And I'm on this channel. We're going to lay out the causes of why and who they are, who the major players are, and what's going on. But just to give you preface this a little bit, I want you to see this article that threw me for a loop from the New York Times. Right? Let me get this on screen real quick. All right, here we go. So, is Donald Trump a threat to democracy? Right? By Stephen Levitsky and Daniel Ziblatt. I want you to look at the date that I'm highlighting here. December 16th, 2016. Now, most of you that are watching this probably never even heard that term, threat to democracy, until January 6, 2020 or after, right? Nobody was thinking about that. Or were you? That's the question. Or were you? One of the oldest newspapers, I think the oldest newspaper outlet in our country, the New York Times, ran an opinion piece the month after he was elected for the first time. Now, I'm not here to try to plead this man's case. It's over with, right? As you know, it's over with. Whether he wins this election and he has another 4, he ends this 4, none of that matters. I told my wife in 2015, I said he was going to win that election. And I believe that he was going to win a second term. I also believe that there's a thing called the X Factor, which is what I'm on now, reaching out to you, and you're hearing me right now. The X Factor is this thing of ours called internet and social media. It's really been a fact. It's been a factor in so many different things. Whereas I think they utilized it really well to get him out his second term that I thought he was going to win. All right. I was 100% sure that, yeah, he'll have another one. But I told my wife back in 2015 that he'll be the last Republican president until we see a collapse in this country, a total and utter collapse. And what does that look like? I've traveled to a lot of countries in my military time. I've seen a lot of economic strife. I've seen poverty. I've seen war. I've seen death. I've seen all types of things in my time. All of the above is what's coming to this country. All right. All of the above is what's coming to this country. And I want all of you to understand this. All right. This is not me trying to, gain clicks or likes because of some kind of wave or trend. If that was the case, I would have jumped on this trend of MAGA movement and all the other stuff back in 2017 when it was just starting to get popular to come out as a Black conservative. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not here to gain some trend or anything like that. I'm actually here to inform. I'm here to help people grab some resolve and, tighten their communities. For you that are on the left, I want you guys to hear me kind of unbiased after the fact. I'm not here to persuade you on the left to come to my side. None of that. And I'm not even here to debate the merits of left and right, because ultimately what we as a country face right now is so much bigger than any of that. All right. We have a situation here where whether you're left, whether you're right, we are all tied to something. And what I mean by that is there's 7 billion people in this planet. Roughly 7 billion people on this planet, right? There is only 300 odd million that have a shared history and background. My forefathers, were enslaved. Some of your forefathers were slave masters or slave holders, and a lot of you guys were immigrants. All in all, there's a shared common ancestry and history and culture that's here that is unique to here. And all of that is disappearing. And we only have each other. We're vastly outnumbered in the world. I want you to really understand what I'm saying. We're vastly outnumbered in this world by a long margin. And there's a reason why 7 billion people are trying to find their way here. There's a lot going on. There's people that's moving these people. There's a lot going on, and we're going to dig into all of that here on Loose and Reckless. And like I said, my ultimate goal is possibly being enemy number one on some of these globalists. I feel like I would die with honor. All right, I'm here to tell you guys that there's bad coming to this country. There's bad things coming to us. If you don't see it now, I don't know if you ever will. I highlight this article, one, because as you see, December 16th, 2016, it was already made up in these guys, Stephen Levitsky and Daniel Zblat, acclaimed writers for the New York Times, that Donald Trump is already a threat to democracy before he even was inaugurated in his first term. They were already prepping you guys to believe he was already a threat to democracy, and it never stopped. When Donald Trump was running in 2015 and he won in 2016, I didn't tell my wife that he was going to be the president because I was just some kind of Donald Trump fanboy. Truthfully, I could give a fuck less about him at the time. All right. But one thing I saw over the preceding 4 years is shit like this. Non-freaking stop. Non-freaking stop. And those who gobbled this shit up, non-stop, never acknowledged that most of it was bullshit. The vast majority of it was bullshit. The question is not whether or not they were wrong or right, because most people don't have the time in their life to be absorbed with finding all the facts. They need outlets like the New York Times. They need outlets like CNN, CBS, or they needed outlets like these to get their information, to see what's going on. Citizen journalists weren't big deals at the time. They weren't anybody you would take seriously. A lot has changed. The X factor is in motion. So is it possible that I could be wrong, that there's a major collapse coming? Possibly. But I wouldn't stake any kind of claim on it. Let me illustrate why. And this is not for me to try to, like I said, litigate the relevancy of right versus left or anything like that. What I do want to highlight is things of this nature. This is a comment underneath. If I could share this. This is a comment underneath this article. Damn the article. The article's unimportant at this time. And the reason why, one second, let me get it up. Okay. There we go. All right. The reason why this article is very important, not the article, but the comment is very important. It shows ideology that needs to be pointed out. It says the authors forgot so many of our fellow citizens are different than elsewhere. It's all about me. How much one pays for groceries and gas. How much are my taxes going down and my 401k going up? It is demoralizing. Conversations I have with people who are not voting Harris tend to focus on those pocketbook issues and then rampant whataboutism, implying both parties and both presidential candidates are the same and bad. I guess I should count my lucky stars. I do not know many 100% MAGAs. I think this is just because they do not want to publicly admit they are ecstatic to vote for Trump and see their bank account tick up. Now, somebody, I guess, this election has brought a lot of people back to this said article, right? I screenshotted this article because this comment, because it signified, it illustrated a giant divide to me. All right. It's all about me, 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 me. How much one pays for groceries and gas? How much are my taxes going down and my 401k going up? To me, that is the most fucking important thing in my fucking life. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? Are you fucking crazy? My legacy is tied to what I produce for my children, my wife, my grandkids. You goddamn right my 401k matters. I don't give a fuck if I'm poor and I'm building. You goddamn right groceries matter. You goddamn right gas matters. You goddamn right my bank account matters. And for the side that turns around and speaks on abortion as the number one thing that they run on, the number one thing that matters to them, I'm sorry. I don't run around getting hoes pregnant. I don't run around just fucking. The vast majority of America doesn't just run around willy-nilly fucking. The vast majority of people in this country don't care about pre-planning, killing a baby just so they can keep fucking. That's not number one on most of our fucking list. For you that it is, well, congratulations. And if you cut off before I finish this tirade, I guarantee you're a part of the problem. The things that I'm trying to illustrate here, it goes to showing that there's a deep and fundamental problem. This shit's not ending with this election. Don't y'all get it? For y'all on the right, y'all that's out here fishing every weekend, going hunting, having a good time. You know, I like fishing. I like, hanging out. But don't forget, politics will not ignore you. And we're coming to a time where they're locking your side up. They're banning your free speech. They're coming after your guns. They're destroying your 401k. They're destroying your grocery budget. They're making it hard to get to and from work without spending half of your earnings each week. And they're openly giving you more policies that will lead you down that path. Now, I say all of this to say that, as you see in that first part of that comment, there's a clear divide. I obviously stand on one side. And for those of you that obviously stand on the other side that made it this far in the video, I applaud you. This is what my suggestion is. Matter of fact, before we go there, let me show you a video that kind of drills home a little bit more what I'm trying to illustrate. All right. 1 second. Let me get this thing out of here. All right. This is a video with, I don't know if you guys are familiar, mostly if you're on the right side of things, you know who Vivek and Charlie Kirk is. This young lady at this college is the exact and the epitome of why in 2015 I told my wife that Trump would be the last Republican president until the collapse. I'm going to play this, and I want you guys to listen to it. I'm going to have to stop it for copyright purposes here and there and give you a little something, but I want you to hear this.
Well, pick your top 2 issues. What are the top 2 issues for the country?
The top 2 issues for the country is
what do you want to see happen in the next 4 years?
Getting rid of disinformation and also securing more hope in our system.
So disinformation is protected by the First Amendment. You would agree?
Yes. Disinformation when it comes to news outlets is what I'm mainly talking about.
So you and I both agree we should pull CNN's broadcasting license.
More like Fox News.
No, that's the point. Is that all of a sudden CNN has a right to be able to do what they do. Fox
Well,
has a right.
Fox News is actually currently, I think about a year ago, was going through a defamatory
Do you think that?
court case.
Do you think that it should be legal to have different opinions? Of course you do. So where
illegal?
do you legal?
Oh, I mean, yeah, I'm mainly talking about news corporates or like news outlets, and also big media figures who can spin sort of disinformation, and that can swing the election. For example, like Elon Musk targeting people on his platform that are liberal and targeting or like pushing out.
Why should that be illegal?
Because
Now, first of all, let's go ahead and just address this first little exchange. You understand, this woman doesn't even conceive that any other media outlet other than Fox News is lying to people. It doesn't matter that to her that in the First Amendment, off the rip, it doesn't matter to her that under the First Amendment, lying is protected. Disinformation is protected. The people have a choice to receive this or not. It doesn't matter whether she thinks is right or wrong. It's the people who decide whether they receive the information or not. Let's continue.
Because he's trying to sway the election.
So he's a citizen. Should Taylor Swift not be able to speak about? She's swaying the election.
Well, no.
How is Taylor Swift and Elon Musk different? She's far more popular than Elon Musk.
Because Elon Musk on his platform is prohibiting information about Kamala Harris.
No, he's not.
So
Yes,
let me just say one thing. We're all against disinformation here, but let me just ask you two pieces of disinformation that we know are disinformation. Where did the pandemic begin?
In China.
In a lab?
No.
You don't.
You see this? You see this? Clear disinformation. Here we are 4 years removed from the incident after everything has been elaborated, and she still believes this. She still believes this. It's just like the people who recite. Matter of fact, I think just yesterday, President Obama came out and said Trump was saying there was good people on both sides. How long have we known that that was bullshit? How stupid do they think y'all are? Let me continue.
You don't think it began in a lab in China because that's not widely accepted that that's where it began. Yet if you said that in 2020, and I don't blame you, I blame the fact that we created disinformation in this country.
Yeah, you're a victim of disinformation.
Because it was created in a lab.
It was created in a lab in
Not
Wuhan.
in a bat cave.
Yeah. And I don't even blame you. I don't even blame you because the government stopped you from being able to know that. So right now we're having a conversation where you believe that the pandemic did not begin, that COVID-19 did not begin in a lab in China, because guess what? That's exactly what our government required you to believe. If anybody said it did, they required it to be censored.
What evidence do you have that was created in a lab?
You have actually you now actually have the genetics of the virus to be able to go back to actually the lab that was manipulating a non-human virus. It was never a naturally occurring virus. The only way that they now know based on the genes.
SARS is not a naturally occurring
SARS-CoV-2
SARS-CoV-2 is not.
It's current. Again,
It spreads. It was designed to spread more rapidly, which is exactly why it did. But suffice to say that now at least every major scientist or medical researcher today who said 2 years ago that it did not believes this is the most likely origin of the pandemic. And yet most of the public, including even yourself, believes what the government told us 2 years ago. That's actual disinformation. Let me ask you.
Exactly. So these people have already constructed in their mind that the only true information can come from authority. Let me repeat that. These people have constructed in their mind that the only true information can come from authority. These are the same people who are usually skeptical about everything. About everything.
Ask another thing. Was the Hunter Biden laptop story on the eve of the last election, the 2020 presidential election? There was a lot of compromising information about Hunter Biden found on a laptop that was found about a month before the election.
Pay attention to her body language. She doesn't care about what Vivek is saying. She's just waiting for a chance to rebuttal. She doesn't want to diagnose this. She doesn't want to hear it.
Was that made up or was that actually true?
Hunter Biden was prosecuted.
No, was the laptop story, was it true or false?
It doesn't matter. He was
Turns
not
out it
running
was
for
true, but you were
presidency.
told it was false. So we share with you a passion
Who
for
said it was false?
getting rid of disinformation. The way we
US
do it is
intel
through free
agencies.
speech.
The,
Yeah.
the Central Intelligence Agency came out and signed a letter, 50 of them, saying that this was Russian disinformation. I lost my Twitter account because I started to share the Hunter Biden laptop during the election. 1 in 4 swing voters during the 2020 election said they would have voted differently if they knew about the Hunter Biden laptop. That's
But
our own government.
Hunter
that's
Biden's not running for
disinformation.
presidency.
Yeah, but his dad was all throughout the laptop talking about foreign deals, Chinese cash, Ukrainian meetings, Russian deals. All that was in the laptop.
Hunter Biden was prosecuted,
Right, that's not the
just
point.
like how Trump was prosecuted.
Right.
34
So,
felons.
yeah, we got that. So
So you catch this little snarky bullshit? What Trump had to do with that? The point that was being made was there was a visible, verifiable, you cannot even deny it, attempt at swaying the psyche of the people by said authority. And then it all comes out as false, and then nobody comes and cleans it up with the truth. Why? Let me wrap it up a little bit. Let me speed up and get you to the end of this real quick so you can kind of get where this is going and how I feel about this.
believe that the experts or whatever should be able to close disinformation. If Trump were to win, why would you give him that power to shut up liberal media?
Good
If
point.
the liberal media is wrong,
But Trump would say they're wrong, so he'll shut it up. But that's the
is
point.
Trump an expert?
Okay, that's the point. Is that at
That
some
is the point.
That's why you should have First Amendment, because it's whoever's in charge gets to determine what is right or wrong. That is what Orwell wrote about.
When it comes to medical and scientific things like that, it should be.
They were wrong about everything. They were wrong about 6 feet to slow the spread. They were wrong about the vaccine, safe and effective. They were
Wait, they
And
were
they were wrong
Every
about whether the Earth
detail.
revolves around the sun, by the way.
the heliocentric
They've been
theory.
wrong
I
for a
guess
long
to
time.
debunk that.
The
Other
experts,
scientists.
through
And
free
not
speech,
politicians, right?
through free speech and open debate,
Yeah,
which we need more of in the
Open
country.
debate
Not less.
gets you to truth, not totalitarianism. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Here I go this way.
All right, so I think I missed
That
the
never
part I wanted
happened.
to
Never
highlight.
happened.
They
Climate change is not
Find
an
it real
existential
quick.
risk to humanity.
it depends on what type of data that they're putting out.
So if a media company says the climate change agenda is
Listen
made
to
up
this.
on false premises and that, you know what, global surface temperature should be allowed to go up, should they be banned from saying it?
Should a media company say that bleach is good to drink?
They should
Or-
be allowed to say
First
it.
of all, that
They
never
should be allowed to
happened.
drink.
That never happened. Never happened.
They
Never
should be allowed
happened.
to say that.
And they should be allowed to say it, of course, because the First Amendment protects all speech, hate speech, disinformation, misinformation, and correct speech.
All
you
speech.
cannot
For
police
an individual.
and companies
All speech.
and individual companies, individuals, LLCs,
Companies are
social
run by individuals.
platforms. Free speech transcends all platforms all the time, and
Okay.
you cannot all of a sudden.
And I think this is useful because I do think there's a difference in
it's
opinion.
So illuminating.
Right
And
here.
if you have
Right
the
here.
views you do,
What Vivek is about to say leads on to my next topic and next part of my solutions and things that I see coming.
I do think Kamala Harris is your candidate.
And the final point
And the
is
beauty of our
under,
country is we
under
agree,
your
yes.
view. Last thing, let's say Trump wins and becomes supreme dictator of America.
Basically, she's a Kamala supporter. Basically, there is a divide. She wants an authoritarian state. She wants authority to be able to control your mouth, your words. Therefore, controlling your thoughts. If you control somebody's words, you control their thoughts. Then when you control their thoughts, you can control their actions. The globalists want nothing more than that. This Make America Great Again movement, this populist uprising, when I saw it coming in 2015, because I was paying attention, and other videos I probably talk about how I got here, was a awakening knowing that Trump was an avatar for that. He was the avatar. He's the only person that came in and lost net worth coming in to do this. Never took a paycheck as president. Has been run up and down the ringer. Gotta admire his work ethic. He's won me all the way over. Just because I get up and bust my ass regularly too. But I see this damn near 80-year-old man doing 5 and 6 rallies in different states every fucking day. You can't, how can you sit back and watch this man move this way if you're on the right and not be ready to stand with him? And not be ready to stand with this guy. Are we all just a bunch of talk? We just gonna leave it to this old man to go die and rot in prison? Is that what we're doing? Because you know what, if you guys would know before I know, or as far as his video goes, if he loses tomorrow, he'll probably go rot in prison. He'll spend his last days in prison. And the number one thing he has come to do when he came in was try to separate us from the world ideology falling down on us. This little girl is a perfect example of why we're heading that way. The Board of Education pretty much takes most of his marching orders from the UK Board of Education. They set the trends, they set the standards. All of this socialist programming, that's not how we got to be the most prosperous country in the world. For those of you that want to talk about slavery made us prosperous, I don't even want to entertain that. There's so much information out there where you can go and figure that part out. If you still stuck on that, this is above your pay grade, brother. Get the fuck off my page. I ain't got time for that. Just keeping it 100. I ain't got time for that. So what do we do about this? What's happening next? If you're a liberal, I assume that you may be cheering it up if Kamala won, and you think good is on the other side. But I recommend that those of your family and friends that were conservatives and MAGA Republicans or Trump supporters, get back good with them. Get back good with them. Stop looking at them the way you look at them. It's no reason to. They just so happen to not be ignorant on certain things that you are. And that's my bias, truly. Those of you that are on the right, if you got family and friends that are on the left and Trump won, don't rub it in their face. Get back good with them. Get back good with them. Ultimately, what needs to happen now is families need to start sticking together. Groups need to start forming because globalism is coming whether we like it or not. And these useful idiots are going to vote it in. They're going to vote this in. In old lore, if you go back to like vampire lore and stuff like that, what was the number one thing the vampire had to have before it could come in a person's house? It had to have permission. What I would advocate for, truthfully, to avoid violence is in your state and local municipalities, start pushing your representatives for a peaceful succession. I mean that. Because otherwise, the mess that we're going to leave our grandkids is blood. There's a fundamental divide in this country that ends in blood. It doesn't have to, but it does. It ends in blood. And we could be the change. I would like for you guys to check out my description below. I will have all types of ways to contact me. I have started a Patreon called Men of Action. If you would like to join, follow the link in the description. If you like this video, like it, share. If you want to find out some of the other stuff that I'm digging up for you guys and this global agenda that I'm about to highlight over the next few years, link in the description. And subscribe and share it. Share it to whoever you think needs to hear it. If I touch the chord, whatever. If there's videos you want me to review, send it to my email in the description. I appreciate you for watching.